Hey guys, welcome back to Video Game Book Club. I'm Daniel, and this is Clay.
I am Clay.
Clay, are you familiar with ninjas?
Not really. Like the modern day ones, more of the mystical ones.
Yeah, that's good, Because today we're going to be playing Legend of the Mystical Ninja.
Ah, weird.
Yeah.
Didn't know.
Yeah, that totally wasn't set up. We didn't.
No.
We just started talking. So that was a totally natural intro.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see you at the end.
Yep. Every region has their own set of myths and legends. America has John Henry and Paul Bunyan. The UK has King Arthur and Robin Hood. Poland has The Witcher, which I'm pretty sure is a soup made of their local legends.
And Japan has squids that have sex with women, and their own version of Robin Hood, Goemon. Unfortunately, this isn't an After Dark episode, so we'll be skipping their sexy squids and going straight to Goemon, the legendary thief. Legend of the Mystical Ninja is an SNES game released in early 1992 in North America, the first to receive a Western release in a long-running series spanning from a 1986 arcade release to consoles and board games to its latest release on, really, Pachinko. I bet you can't guess who owns the series.
The Legend of Mystical Ninja is based around a Japanese outlaw hero who stole from the rich and gave to the poor, and then was boiled alive for trying to assassinate a warlord. Our Goemon is a blue-haired ninja who beats up people with a pipe. Oh, and his name isn't Goemon, it's Kid Ying.
What? Why? Goemon is a cool name, and when they brought over the 64 games, they kept it.
Well, the character you played as is actually named Ibisumiru, but they changed it to Dr. Yang, so the characters would be Ying and Yang.
So basically, 90s.
Yeah, basically. For an early Super Nintendo game, heck, just for a Super Nintendo game in general, the art direction is incredibly well done. Character designs for both of our main characters, the townspeople, and the enemies are all high quality and a great example of the difference between what the NES and the SNES were capable of. Your weapons are distinctive as you upgrade them with Lucky Cat statues, and the inclusion of both luck-based minigames as well as a dumbed-down version of classics like Gradius push the presentation of Mystical Ninja above and beyond most 2D beat-em-ups. Animations both in gameplay and the limited cutscenes are very well done and bring a level of humor not generally seen.
The music is not only fitting, but stands out as a huge A+ addition to the game. The Oriental-inspired tracks pull you into the game setting and are incredibly enjoyable. Where many games of the era have serviceable but forgettable background music, Mystical Ninja uses their tunes to pull the player into a narrative and the time frame of Goemon, even though the actual storytelling is sparse and used mostly to bookend stages, which themselves are split into two unique sections.
The game is gorgeous and serves as an example of a 16-bit game that holds up as well in 2017 as it did in the 90s. Another testament to how timeless the presentation of video games were before the switch to polygons.
Mystical Ninja has deceptively deep gameplay that we didn't even get to fully explore since we played the game co-op. Levels, of which there are 9, are split into two distinct sections. The first half of each level is spent in a town or village setting, where you can gather power-ups from enemies, which mostly seem to be townspeople, like this poor fisherman who we beat up repeatedly, and then we go the extra mile and kill his dinner. Or pet. I'm not sure what that is. You can enter houses and shops to obtain information about your goal, buy armor and food, and play a plethora of minigames. This plays much more like an adventure game than a side-scroller, and adds another layer to the game to help set it apart even more.
Several of the minigames are completely forgettable versions of things such as air hockey or searching for treasure in a fake 3D maze, but two stood out in our playthrough. The first is a version of Gradius, which is included and can be played for a small in-game price, and seeing this game within a game is a fun and interesting bonus which just further pushes Mystical Ninja above its peers. The second, a luck-based moneymaker, was an easy way for us to make a fortune so we could max out our item purchases, as well as be able to use virtually unlimited throwing items.
These town sections are made up of an openish town map that you can wander around grinding out enemies to your heart's desire, except for one big hindrance. Right there in the middle of your screen exists a timer. A very generous timer, but a timer nonetheless. While there are items that can be purchased to extend your time, you'll want to make sure you leave the town portion of each level with enough left over to play through the more traditional second half of the stage.
Once you are finished exploring the town portion or solving whatever puzzle you need to so you can progress, you find a weirdly out of place Tanuki statue. The artwork used for the Tanuki seems much more real life than the game's general aesthetic and makes its use as a halfway mark much more jarring and deliberate than most checkpoint systems. The Tanuki, oh, okay, those are its balls! Jesus! Jesus, those are its balls! What the
Once in the second half of a level, you'll find a much more traditional but still innovative platformer. By using verticality as well as unique platforms, Legend of the Mystical Ninja sticks out from its competitors. This isn't just a move right till you hit the goal game. Sometimes, you'll move left till you hit the goal. I mean, you'll also go up and around. Now that I think about it, the level structure reminds me a lot of Super Mario 2, which, as everyone and their mother has had it drilled into their heads, was just a reskin of Doki Doki Panic.
The use of interesting platform designs, such as these balls that clank together and these spinning stairs means you have to be much more deliberate with your choice and makes co-op a real pain. To make your jumps easier, the person who is poorer at the precise platforming that is required can ride on the back of the other player, and you can...
Oh my god, this is amazing. I have never played a game that pulled off the worm better. We can do it together. We can do it apart. This is the greatest wiggle physics ever.
Oh, come on, man. I'm trying to do a review.
I don't care. As far as I'm concerned, this is the whole game, Clay. We can just wiggle all day long. I mean, look at that animation. It's amazing.
The controls themselves are really solid, but you will miss many jumps. This was made much easier once we realized co-op allows for some cheap gameplay shortcuts. By allowing one of us to die, we could cheat our way around the platforming by having the dead character fly above the platforms to land safely before fully respawning.
Wiggle.
This is also apparently one of the judo skills, which unfortunately we did not get to experience because of the tug and war screen sharing which we experienced in co-op.
Wiggle.
Normally, when you kill an enemy, a power-up will come out and it will allow you to use one of 4 judo skills. Playing in co-op, when one of us killed an enemy, it was next to impossible to chase down such items as they would bounce off screen.
Wiggle.
While we had a great time playing co-op, you can definitely tell that this game was built around single player, as this is one example where co-op hindered our ability to fully explore the gameplay options.
Wiggle.
Although the added bonus of another person tackling the bosses made those fights mostly trivial and we only died once. But that was due more to platforming in the fight rather than the boss itself.
Full on wiggles.
Jeez, are you done?
Wiggle. Okay, I'm done. Wiggle.
Did you want to add anything, or are you good with the review that I did by myself?
You get to ride a tiger, and I'm bummed I didn't get to see it because we played together. On the other hand, we did do a lot of wiggling. So I've got that going for me.
Like we said, there are story sections interspersed between each level, and it is here that we learn of the game's narrative, which is minimal and mostly used to give a feeling for the next section of the game. You play as Kid Ying and Dr. Yang.
I have a PhD, so I'm smarter.
You play as Kid Ying and Dr. Yang. Like we said, Kid Ying is actually Goemon, and Dr. Yang is Ibimisuru. You begin by investigating a ghost woman in your hometown of Odo, who turns out to be a ninja cat named Karibi, who was looking for allies to join with his master, Koban. You make it to Koban Island to find suspicious dancers led by this really cool boss battle, which is basically a walking lantern holder.
You speak to Kodan, and the real story starts here. Kodan informs you that Princess Yuki, the Emperor's daughter, has been kidnapped and you must go to rescue her. You fight your way through different areas of Japan, all while trying to find and save the princess, which is of course a fairly straightforward goal of most early console games. While most console games at the time had a beginning and end to their story, Mystical Ninja does a good job of adding a middle. It's still not a riveting story, but the use of humor in these sections does make the game more endearing and the characters very likable.
As Daniel said earlier, we were honestly too busy wiggling to really care about saving the princess, but there is some story there if you are interested. The real driving force for us to move forward was the varied and interesting boss battles. This Kite Ninja combination is one of our favorites.
I give this game maximum wiggle. And you should definitely go check it out. But maybe play alone if you want to squeeze every last drop out of it.
Or play together if you just want to wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle with it.
That ninja game was sweet.
Wiggle. Why, you didn't see that coming?
I absolutely did.
The game was great. Wiggle, wiggle,
Yeah.
wiggle.
Wiggle,
all
wiggles.
day long.
All the wiggles, all over the place. It was fun.
Go check it out.
They struck back.
See you next time, guys.
Bye.
Please send help.